All right, we're going to take a look at question number example 30 from page 11 of Unit 6. Question here says a small ship travels from a lighthouse whose light only shines east on a bearing of north 7 degrees east, a distance of 8 miles. It then makes a turn to the right and travels for 5 miles and finds itself directly in the beam of the lighthouse light. How far from the lighthouse is the ship? So what we're going to need to do here is we're going to have to draw a picture. Now this question, to be honest, when I first looked at it, I was a little confused myself because it's stating certain things that are not necessarily direct. So let's take a little deeper look at this question. Okay. So one of the suggestions I made in class is to, as you read through, highlight and draw a picture. So it says a small ship travels from a lighthouse whose light only shines east on a bearing of north 70 degrees east. Okay, so what does that mean? It's saying the light travels. So first off, whenever you see a compass question, I've encouraged you all to draw a compass as such. We go north, south, wee. Okay, then it says that the bearing is north 70 degrees east. So that means, remember bearings, you start north and you turn east. So this is north 70 degrees east. Okay? So we also now know that this is 20. And if you're like wondering, well, Mr. Anderson, where did you pull 20 out of? The answer is because this is a 90-degree angle. So 90 minus 20. I'm sorry, 90 minus 70 is 20. Okay? So that's what our picture is looking like. Now, also important to note here, it says that whose light only shines east on a bearing of 70 degrees, distance of 8 miles. So it's a little confusing here, but the light is going 8 miles, which means that this distance right here, that is 8 miles. Now that's a little confusing, but if you read the question a couple times, I think that does make sense. It says the light is 8 miles, distance of 8 miles. All right, let's look at the next question, next statement. It then makes a turn to the right and travels for 5 miles. This is where it gets very, very, very interesting because it says it turns to the right. So we've already traveled 8, and then it says it turns to the right and travels 5 miles and finds itself directly in the beam of the lighthouse. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, if you turn right, that means you can, there's actually two scenarios. It means it could be from here, you end up here, and this is your distance of 5. But it also can mean that you can turn and you could be here, and you have a distance of 5. What this question is trying to illustrate is the ambiguous case that exists. I think intuitively this one makes more sense, but it could be this one as well. Okay. Okay. And then the question is, how far from the lighthouse is the ship? Okay. So we're asked to find out how far is the, so if this is where the ship is, we'll call it point B. This is where the lighthouse is. This is point A. What's either this distance, we'll call this B prime. What's this distance or what's this distance? Now, to be 100% honest with you, you can solve this question. It doesn't state to solve it both ways. So you can solve it just one way if you wanted to, but I'll go through and solve it both ways. All right, the first way I want to go about solving this question is I'm going to go after the big triangle. So let me draw a big triangle here. So this is 20. And this is 8, and this is 5. All right, so what am I going to do to solve this question? Well, what I can do is, anytime you have an angle and a corresponding side, you can use the law of sine. So I'm going to say sine 20 over 5 equals sine, well, I do want this distance, but first I need to find, the only side I can find is this one, so I'm going to find this angle here. I'm going to say sine, this is A, this is B. So I'm going to say sine B over 8. Okay? So I'm using the law of sines to find this angle. Now the question is, why do I want this angle? Well, if I have that angle, then if you have an angle, then you can do, you could find this other angle out pretty quickly, and that would help us get to the answer, because then I can use law of sines again to find that side. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I don't have a calculator hanging around here, so I'm just going to have to use my computer. So give me a sec. Alright, so here we go. Here's a graphing calculator on the computer, and I'm going to just do, well, if I'm looking for, let's go back here. If I'm looking for sine B, then I'm going to say 8 sine 20 over 5 is sine B. So I'm going to have to solve this. So to solve this, it's going to be 8, let's look here, 8 times sine 20 divided by 5. And it gives me 0.547. Okay, now remember, we want to find the inverse of it because we're looking for an angle, so second sine, second answer. It gives me 33.178. So 33, so angle B is 33.178. Now I'm not done yet, of course. I just found that this angle here is 37.178. And now what I need to do is I need to figure out this angle, because if I have this angle, then I can find this side here. So to find that angle, it's 180 minus the other two. I have to steal some space down here, so 180 minus the other two, 33.178 minus 20. And so I'm going to solve that on the calculator. So it's 180 minus 33.1. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? Delete, delete, delete. I'm actually going to hit second answer because what's written above is 33.178, but more precise. Minus 20. Sorry, my computer is very sensitive. I click on buttons. It's 126.82. So 126.82. All right, very cool. So what do I do from here? Well, now I have this angle, I have this side, I have the original angle, and I have the side, so I can use law of sines once more. So we're going to go through and use law of sines once more. So we're going to say sine 20 over 5 equals sine 126.82 over, I'll call this C, so this is a little c. So little c. Alright, same deal, cross multiply and divide, so 5 sine 126.82 over sine 20 is going to be c. And just type that in, we should be done. Oh, yes, sweet. Make sure you always check to make sure your calculator is in degrees. I did not, and it was almost like I had to do another video. That would have made me sad. By the way, I say 5 times sine. You don't have to. You can just type 5 sine if you wanted to. Doesn't matter. However makes you happy. Do what makes you happy. Oh, look, I can be more precise. I'm gonna delete this. Delete. Delete, delete, delete. Second answer divided by sine 20. And enter. 11.7. So C is going to be 11.7. And there's my answer. Alright. Does that make sense? Is that cool? Does that work for y'all? I'm going to check to make sure that is the correct answer. Yep. If you look at the key, they give you 11.7 as well. So, there you go. That's the answer. What I'm going to do is I'm actually not going to solve the other triangle. I'm going to let you leave that to you. If you would like to see a video of how to solve that triangle, just let me know and I'll post that. But I think at this point, actually I think once you get the picture, most of y'all are able to do this. But if you do want me to post another video showing you how to solve the smaller triangle, I can do that. Alright, thanks a bunch. Bye.